Okay, so I guess I'm sitting here trying to decide the best means to continue disassembling this. I already know I got to completely tear it down. I'm just trying to think of the best way to do it. Taking the rocker arms off obviously needs to take place, but I'm wondering if it's easier to just do it now while I have, a big grip on this thing, or do it with the cylinder off. I think I want to try. See, this one's got a little bit of a mark on that. I wonder how in the heck that happened. I'm going to see if these pins want to come out. Okay, this one didn't have a problem. It's probably to a point where it can be, my magnifier keeps losing its tension. Okay, pin number 1. Take rocker arm off. Push rod out. Let's see if I get lucky with this one over here too. Now I haven't heated this engine up. I've said it before on a couple other videos. Having the proper size screwdriver, the right thickness tip, the right width to perfectly fit in these pins, or these slots in these pins, is so critically important. Because before I really had these particular wrenches or particular screwdrivers from a friend of mine, Marco, I had to grind my own down, because the first time I tried to do this, I ended up wallering out the slot in one of these guide pins, and that really sucks. And this thing's really got a lot of oil. This owner really oiled this thing up. Anyway, let's move on to cylinder number 3 and see how we go there. Man, it's just so much oil. I'm having a hard time getting a grip on this screwdriver now. Wow, that really sucks. Did you hear that cracking sound? That cracking sound was my screwdriver bit shattering. Okay, well, the good news is it didn't damage this pin. The bad news is my favorite screwdriver is now garbage. I mean, yeah, I can go Dremel it down and do it again, but crap. That sucks. Alright. I'm going to go hit these things with some heat and see if I can find the old screwdriver that I used before, because obviously my new one is destroyed now. So we'll take a little break here. So removing these rocker arms has been a little bit more challenging than I had hoped. I've got one here on the number 3 cylinder that I cannot get that pin out yet. As you saw in the previous video, I already blew up my nice Carnegie screwdriver, so what I've done is I've reground it down and tried it again, but this thing just won't move. This is what my old screwdriver and handle look like. I've also since gone and made this big screwdriver one that can hopefully be used also. So I've put some heat on this thing and I've tried loosening it, but I'm not going to keep trying anymore, because I think part of the issue is that it's just so frozen that it might also be under tension here. So I'm not going to actually even continue to try and remove this until I get the heads off. So what I'm trying to figure out now is the intake manifold is not screwed in place at all. It's just pushed in. But I'm trying to decide here if it's better to just take the cylinder head screws out, loosen this thing up, and kind of at the same time just try to pull this back plate off. I'm not really sure how I'm going to go about freeing the intake cylinder or intake manifolds off of these yet, so that's kind of where I'm at right now. Just kind of kicking ideas around here for doing that. So I did decide I'm going to go ahead just pull the cylinders off first. So off camera, I just started unscrewing these screws. That's the other thing I'm kind of struggling with here is, you know, do I sit here and film every single thing and then sit there and edit everything out? Unturning or loosening screws isn't really all that exciting of an activity. But so here we are. First cylinder number 1 is coming out, and as you can see, I'm actually not going to be able to pull it out off with the piston inside the engine. The piston is going to come out because the connecting rod and all that stuff is still in there. So I'm going to thinking I might just pull these things off like this, set them aside, and then take this back plate off. So I've got my intake manifold here. Take these push rod rubbers and tubes out. Oops. Okay, so here's our first piston. Okay, so now what I can do is I can see I do have good motion there. I'm going to go ahead and put it in. We'll leave that like it is for now, I guess. These rubbers feel like they're in good shape. Hopefully I won't have to take them off. Let's see here. Okay, so I've got all 3 cylinder heads off here now. And I think I'm going to take this back plate off next. Look at these pistons, each of these pistons first. This is number 2 piston, number 3 piston, and the number 1 piston. So the thing that I think is interesting here is that it looks like 3 and 2, I'm sorry, 1 and 3 have the most carbon buildup on them as opposed to 2. So it makes me wonder if 2 was actually running cooler. I mean, this is just a single carb engine, so you really can't tune each cylinder individually. So it's interesting that 1 piston head would be so much cleaner than the other 2. But anyway, I've already kind of pre-loosened these things because loosening fasteners is kind of one of those things that can be a little stressful, especially if you have some that don't want to budge. I guess one thing I kind of keep forgetting is that I need to just kind of show this engine as opposed to just working on it and tearing it down, because a lot of folks are probably kind of really interested in seeing what things look like. So that's something I need to keep in mind also. So there's the back plate, just came off rather easily, and look at this. The gasket, now even though the owner sent me a new gasket set, this gasket survived. So I'm probably going to reuse this because I don't really see the sense in putting a new gasket on something if the original one is fine. So now you can see the size of this counterweight and what I'm going to have to do to try to get this thing off of here, which at this point I'm still not quite sure yet. Let me just set this like this here. Let's see. Is there anything else in here? I mean, there are fasteners in here. I'd have to see if I can find an exploded parts breakdown of this engine to determine what exactly is in there, and if there's any need for me to get in there or not.